Hey you guys, and welcome back. So I just wanted to do a video talking about some interesting points that I noticed about the eclipses that will be going over America and then the eclipses that will be going over Egypt. Okay. And I'm going to go over a couple of more points when I do the video about the interesting points that I noticed about the New Madrid fault line. I had looked into this back in 2017 when I was researching the 2024 eclipse. So I just wanted to give some interesting points that you may want to keep in mind concerning that particular fault line. And so first off, I want to say, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more towards the end of this video, but I want to say that these eclipses, what I believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe that they are time markers. Right. That's what I believe. I believe that they are time markers, because if you look at 2017, you had things going on, that people, kind of weren't really paying attention to, the things that were happening that were going to contribute to the trouble that was coming, that was on the way, like the storms that was happening that led to the destruction of a lot of food, the storms that came that ended up killing a lot of livestock, beef, and cows, pigs, chickens, of the diseases that were happening in the livestock, things of that nature. And then 2019 happened. Okay, which around June or July was the 400-year anniversary of Black Americans being in this country when they were brought in as slaves. So that was the 400-year marker for that. And then the end of 2019 is when the cough happened. You know what I'm saying? The plague that pretty much changed everything, right? It was at that point that people could no longer just, go around and just have these things happening and they not pay attention and they not know what's going on. It was something that just impacted everybody. It impacted the whole world. And things have just been going downhill ever since. And so, when the eclipse in 2017 happened, it wasn't just, bam, this big thing that stopped everything everybody had to pay attention to. It was, it happened and then things were happening and some people were aware and some people were paying attention, but most weren't. So with this being the second eclipse, that second total eclipse that's going to make the Aleph, that's going to complete the Aleph, right? Because people keep calling it a Tav, and later on I'm going to tell you why I don't believe that that's true. And I've already done a video on this, but I'm going to go into detail about why I don't believe that that's true, that it's actually the Aleph. Even though the two total solar eclipses make a Tav, the three are meant to be viewed together as an Aleph. So with this last eclipse going over, I don't know if this will be significantly different than what we saw with the other two, or if it will yet again just be that time marker that says, okay, this is the beginning, this is the Aleph. And again, this is how I see things. This is my opinion. If you believe something different, then that's your right to do so. Okay, so I just want to go over a couple of interesting things about the eclipses. One is that between all three, 31 states within the contiguous U.S. will experience the eclipse going over it. Okay, 31 states. And so out of those 31, 3 got to experience 2 of them. And that's Oregon, Texas, and Illinois. Oregon experienced the 2017 total solar eclipse and the 2023 annular eclipse. And Texas experienced the 2023 annular eclipse and the 2024 total solar eclipse, the one coming up. So they'll experience those two. And then Illinois experienced both total solar eclipses. So the longest duration for the 2023 annular eclipse was in Belize, and it was for 5 minutes. It stayed in Belize for 5 minutes. So you may want to look up the history of Belize, particularly the history of Belize as it pertains to slavery And so now let's look at the 2 total solar eclipses that are going to be taking place over in Egypt. And before I get into that, I just want to let you know, if I find out anything else that is of interest, I will put it down in the description box, and I may include it in the next video that I do pertaining to the New Madrid fault line. And so the first total solar eclipse that's going to be crossing over Egypt will take place on August 2nd, 2027. Okay. And one of the things that I wanted to make note of, and I believe I listed this in the video that I did previously concerning this, is that the August 2nd, 2027 total solar eclipse is 1,212 days from the April 8th, 2024 total eclipse that's coming up next week. And that is 48 days short of 1,260 days. Okay, if it were 1,260 days, then that would land you around September 20th of 2027. And so that's one of the reasons why I believe that these eclipses are, what do you call it? I don't know, like a time marker. Okay, it's almost like when you're in a race and the referee says ready, set. Okay, you know to get on the ready because the go is getting ready to happen. Okay, that's what I believe that they are, is that they are time markers to say, okay, this has happened, be aware, be on the lookout, whatever's coming is coming. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be, that day, bam, but it's like a time marker. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, 1,260 days is equivalent to 3.5 years. And so then the next total solar eclipse that's going to be crossing over Egypt and making the last line of the X, or the actual Tav, because I looked and I did not see an annular solar eclipse that will be crossing over Egypt. There will be an annular solar eclipse that will be taking place March 30th of 2033, which is 33033, but that annular solar eclipse is going to be taking place over Russia and the US, parts of the US. Okay, and then the next following year is when the total solar eclipse will be making the second part of the X, or the Tav, over Egypt, and that will take place on March 20th of 2034. And as I said in the video before where I talked about these eclipses, this X is going to be over the part of Egypt that is right on the edge, right next to the Red Sea. Okay, right at where Egypt meets the Red Sea. And so this is another reason why I believe that these eclipses are time markers. And I don't know if that's really the right word to use for what I'm trying to convey, okay? Because between the August 21st, 2017 eclipse over America and the April 8th, 2024 eclipse over America, okay, these are the 2 total solar eclipses. There are 6 years and 7 months. It's not quite 7 years, okay? And so now when you look at the ones that will be crossing over Egypt, between the August 2nd, 2027 total solar eclipse over Egypt and the March 20th, 2034 total solar eclipse over Egypt, there are 6 years and 7 months. So it's 3 months short of 7 years, and that's true of both sets of total solar eclipses. And so that's why I feel like, now this is just my personal opinion, I feel like the annular solar eclipse over America was really just for the purposes of creating the Aleph. It wasn't supposed to break or interrupt the 6 years and 7 month time frame that is taking place between the 2 total solar eclipses. So now what is going to be happening during those 3 months between the 6 years and 7 months that makes up the 7 years? I don't know. Is that a grace period? Is that the ready set part before the go part? Okay, is something going to be taking place there? Is it going to be a break in things taking place there? Maybe to, as a time for people to repent, to see if people have reflected over what has happened the past 6 years and 7 months and, decided to repent or turn from their ways. I don't know, but I just know that that is something that is taking place between these two eclipses, is that there is 6 years, 7 months between them, and then there's 3 months before it equals out a complete 7 years between the two eclipses. One other thing, and I don't know if I included it in this last video that I did, but the total number of days between the two total solar eclipses, both the ones over America and the ones over Egypt, is 2,423 days. Between the first one over America and the second one over America is 2,423 days. Between the first one over Egypt and the second one over Egypt is 2,423 days. And so when I realized this, I made note of it, and then I went about doing, some other things. And then I thought to myself, I wonder what that means in the Strongs. Like if there's a word associated with that number 2,423 in Strongs. And the Hebrew word for 2,423 is beast. So in looking at that, could those 3 months, where when you're talking about like the Aleph, which is the beginning or the first over America, so you got 3 months at the end of that to equal 7 years, and then you got another 3 months after the Tav is made over Egypt, right? You got another 3 months at the end of that. So could that signify you have 3 months before the beginning of something, and then you have 3 months until that something ends, right? So let's say a time period is going to start 3 months after the April 8th total solar eclipse, right? That's going to be the start of it. And it's going to carry on until the second X is made over Egypt, and then you have a 3 month time period before whatever that is ends, right? Could those be the time markers? I don't know. Okay, I just know that that's interesting to me. That one, you have the same period of time between the total solar eclipses over these two countries that equal the same number of days, and in the Hebrew that number means beast. And when you look up the scriptural references for that number, it leads you to different parts of the book of Daniel. One part where it talks about Nebuchadnezzar being punished and, made to go out and act like a beast and eat grass like a cow and things like that until he repents and recognizes the Most High as the one true God to be worshipped. And it also references his dreams where he's seeing, the beasts, the prophecies that he has in the book of Daniel. So I just thought those things were interesting, and I just wanted to throw them out there. That again, this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm not saying that anything is going to happen on any particular date. I just thought it was interesting. Okay, you guys, I'm going to end this here because I don't want this to get too long. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I will be so happy to have you. You guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.